7 quick tips on how to analyze anyone. Like Johan Liebert, observe emotional reactions. How a person reacts to something is always a good source of information to examine. The emotions they express in these moments is crucial to learning about their individual psychology. However, these insights from these reactions often go unnoticed because most people don't pay close attention. When you notice these reactions, identify the emotion and the psychological reason for it. There's always a reason for why people become emotional, and you need to examine these emotions all the way to their root causes. Ask yourself why this individual is responding in that specific way. For example, if you see a person have a sudden outburst of anger, then you can come to the conclusion that this individual is in disagreement with something that was spoken or something that has happened. This will allow you to get a good sense of their beliefs and ideals. Just by noticing emotional reactions like this, you will be able to analyze people like Johan does. The fact that Johan can observe emotional reactions allows him to easily exploit the emotions of many different people, learn their habits. Humans develop many different habits over time, and it gives clear patterns that you can analyze. Firstly, recognize how a person will tend to keep repeating the same action of how they handle certain things. It's engraved within their mind, and it shows their character. For example, if a person has a habit of complaining all the time, it reveals their victim mentality and lack of self-control. Remember that a person's character is formed from thousands of habits they have. So even if you just learn one of their psychological habits, it will aid you in understanding the individual. Discover their deep desires. Every human desires something, and what they desire can reveal a lot about them. Some people aren't even aware of what they actually want, so they become a slave to their own human nature, which is something that you should analyze deeply. First, realize that desire is developed from our past experiences and emotions, so it's best to take the time to learn what happened to a person previously. Something in the past has caused them to develop the desire they currently have. So by knowing what happened in the past, you will not only learn what they desire, but you will also learn why they desire it. Keep in mind that most people won't openly reveal these things to you, so you should develop a close connection first before asking these personal questions. Also, as a general rule, people will take actions to get closer to what they desire. So the actions of a person is something you want to consider when learning about their desires. For example, Johan knows that Carl wants acceptance from his real father just from looking at his previous actions of trying to get closer to him. Despite Carl not telling him directly, Johan can still read him easily because of the insight gained on his psychological desires. Notice contradictory behavior. A person will usually construct a certain appearance for other people to see, but there may be moments where a person's actions will contradict their previous behavior. This is from the root cause of repressed, uncontrollable emotions, which is something that you can analyze in order to learn what they psychologically deny about themselves. For instance, a person who's usually nice and caring may suddenly become aggressive and condescending. If you recognize this contradictory behavior, then you will be able to comprehend that this person is suppressing their dominant harsh qualities. This gives you insight that this individual doesn't like this part of themselves and has all these emotions built up over time. Always remember that people tend to deny certain qualities about themselves as a coping mechanism. So anytime you notice contradictory behavior, it's because they have built up emotions that they don't like to recognize. Examine relationship dynamics. A good way to understand someone is to look at their relationships with certain people. Specifically, you need to look out for the people who heavily influences the individual. This could be their parents, friends, or romantic partner. Whoever it may be, there's dynamics of the connection that will reveal how they psychologically operate. For example, you could look at who's more responsible, how much they care about this individual, or why they keep having arguments with this person. You're basically just observing patterns of their social interactions that will reveal valuable information on their relationships. In the case of Johan, his valuable knowledge reveals his psychological weakness of Richard. Knowing that he deeply cares about his daughter, Johan was able to use this knowledge to make him feel guilty by mentioning her. And all this was possible because Johan learned the relationship dynamics beforehand. Be aware of voice tones. Not only should you analyze what a person is saying, but you should also analyze how they say it. Not considering the voice tone can lead to misinterpreting what a person actually means when they say something, which is why you should never neglect this when you're trying to read someone. It can range from being calm, hesitant, aggressive, sarcastic, energetic, and much more. Along with that, you can recognize the pace of the voice, which can also indicate an emotional state. For instance, an excited or anxious person may have a faster rate of talking, and a person with slower rate of speaking could mean they're more serious or is currently in a depressed mental state. These are the things to consider when listening carefully to their voice tone. Just by identifying the emotion within their voice, you can interpret how they actually feel when they say something. Investigate their childhood. The experiences when growing up plays a significant part in developing a person's personality. It's a time when a person is at their most vulnerable, and their psychology is easily molded by positive and negative experiences. So to analyze at a deeper level, you should learn more about their childhood. Since there's so many experiences that shapes a person when growing up, you will be able to scrutinize many different details. You could look at how their parents raised them, their traumatic events, their sense of belonging, and much more. It's best to specifically learn the major events in their childhood so you can analyze a person more efficiently. Either way, a person's childhood is valuable knowledge for understanding their psychology. And Johan was able to do this when listening to Carl on the rooftop. Since Johan took the time to learn about his childhood, it gave him great psychological knowledge on him as an individual. Thanks for watching VevenSeven.